Hi, this is Frank Rauscher again. What I'm trying to do now is just to have a continuation of what I left off on. The last video was shaping the beak. Okay, we're going to continue on, and I'm going to take you through that portion of it, and then we'll show you how to finalize the beak, and then we'll start in on the head. Okay, so bear with me here. I had to break it up a little bit, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that's what I've done, and now we'll proceed on. So bear with me. I'm going to move the camera down, and we'll do some more. My micro grinder on this, and I'm going to get my diamond bullet. I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to do this. I don't want to go into my V, so I'm going to start out in front of it, and I'm going to skim this. And you can get there. Look both sides to make sure you're taking the material off evenly and flat right across there. And do it nice and slow because you don't have a lot of material to take off. And you get back, but you're not touching the V, okay? And you can see on this side, let me get the pencil line so you can see it. We're pretty close on that. So there it is there. And if you look over here and I put my finger over here, I could see a little light. So I'm probably a little high on this side. So I'm gradually just going to take a little bit off right up to the V. Okay. Now, on the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got more on the bottom, it looks like, to take off. So I'm going to lay this. Remember that 3/8 of an inch back. We put a dot and then a slight V. I'm coming forward and I'm bringing this up. I'm taking the material off the bottom and I'm checking myself out on both sides so I don't go into the pencil line. I want to go right up to the pencil line. And you got to do it gently or you'll be taking too much off. And if you ever do that, there's a way of fixing that too, which I'll show you down the road. It's not like I haven't done that myself where I've taken too much off, but you like to start out by keeping yourself in control if you can. So what we're doing is we're reducing the material both top and bottom. Now, I'm going to heavy this V a little bit more so you can see it. And I'm going to scoot to the left of the V here and try to take a little off. And then I'm also going to go to the right of the V and take it off to try to get back to that bottom of the beak line. Still got some more to go. And I'm using a diamond bit. You could also use the ruby flame. That'll work. But you want to stay in control. You don't want to take too much off. And at the same time, there's not a lot you need to take off. It's just going nice and easy with it. And we're pretty close now. Okay. So what we've done so far is we reduced everything, both top and bottom on the beak. And what we have left is we got that little V right in here and the one here. I'm going to go pencil it back in. I'm going to go to the tip of my beak and I'm going to run that straight line straight back down and put it back in there again. I'm going to go to the bottom, and where I came through the beak, I'm going to put that center line back in there. Okay. So now I have the beak outlined. I noticed one thing. My pencil line on the bottom here, I needed to take a little bit more at the top here. You can see a little bit of the white. This one here, and this is the same thing on this side. So I'm going to come up very slowly and take a little bit more right out at the end. And make sure you've got everything flattened in here. You know, this is flat here and it's flat here. You're not trying to shape the beak yet. We're just trying to round it off. I mean, flatten it off, I should say. Okay, so got to watch my terminology here. Okay, so we now have this taken out and this taken out, both top and bottom. Now, the beak itself, when you look at it, is 1/8 of an inch wide out and 1/8 of an inch wide here. So where the ends of those V's go, you just about have 1/8 of an inch. And then it comes out almost to a point. Oop, I'm sorry. My head bounced into the camera. I'm going to heavy this line up. Now, what I'm going to do is take a 30-second off of that center line, and I'm coming back to my corner here, where that 45 came out, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side, right out to that corner. So what we're going to do is reduce that beak down this way. So we reduced it this way originally. Now we're pulling it in this way. And on the bottom, I'll try to do the same thing. We have just this, we don't have the same setup. But what we're doing is we came off about a 30-second and we're coming back this way. And you got to at least have 1/8 of an inch that it's going out to. And we're going from here out. And if you have more than you need, don't worry about it, because we're going to refine this as we go. But I'm drawing this in. And what I'm trying to do is put boundaries so that when I reduce it this way, it's going to look like that when we get done between my fingers. Okay, so the beak narrows in. So the thing I want to do now is this. Oh, one other thing. We have a nice arc that comes up off the line and back on, but it's very slight. And I don't want to lose that line. So let me do this. And this is what I tried to do. So I don't lose that line. I get my burning pen. And what I do with my burning pen is I come in and I burn right from that corner, right along here, and follow that line. And I stop short of the end. Just stop short. Let me just turn that heat down just a little bit more. I'm between a 5 and a 6, more closer to the 6, but this is not the same on every machine. Excuse me. So I've got that in there, so in case when I grind some of this away, I still know where that line is, okay? So that's the reason why I do that. So now I'm going to come in and reduce this so it comes into like a point, but not quite. It's going to still have some thickness. So here we go. I'm going to try to stay within my framework here of the beak. I have the lines down the bottom as a guide to how much I got to take off, and I've got this If you notice, I don't have that much to take off over on this side except for the front. And on this side, it gets a little wider as I come out, which is norm. So I'm going to come in here. I'm laying my barrel of my bit on a flat, and I'm just going to be very gentle with this and just check myself out as I go. You don't want to do this fast, okay? So I got that pretty close. I'm going to check the bottom. A lot of times you think you're doing it flat when you meet the line up here, but then you don't meet the line down there. So you have to go back and take some off the bottom, okay? And I may be a little wider at the tip, but don't worry about that at this stage of the game. I'd rather you be wide than get real thin. You know, you don't want to get that to a toothpick shape. Now on this side, I'm going to come in. And I'm checking both top and the bottom. The bottom seems to come in pretty fast. All the markings we had in here, you have this coming across. That's your stop. This is your stop. And then you come down 1/8 of an inch here and stop. And then we have this 3/4 of an inch coming back like so, and back like so. So let's see what I did here. I need to take this in now. So I'm going to lay the barrel in there, and I'm looking down from the top, trying to pull that in. At the same time, I want to check the bottom, and you want to make sure you have a flat surface and you're not going in and out up here. You want to gently get close, and I take it back. I don't want to go on these pencil lines that I've done here, and that's why I have these up for you. This and this is where I want to stop when I slope this in. So I'm going to come right up to them like this. I'm going to come right up to them like this, and this all should flatten out. And I see like this isn't coming true, so I'm just going to touch it just slightly. But if I keep on doing it, I'm going to make a mistake here. So let me just, there you go. So I got a nice flat surface going this way. Nice flat surface going down this way. It's arcing, but everything's flat. We're not making a rounded beak yet. So I just want to get you to that point. Now, let me do something here. I'm trying to keep my videos within a certain amount of time. So let me stop and check this, and then I'll get back with you to see if I could do more on here. If not, I'm going to move to the next video, and we will finish the creation of this beak. So bear with me a second, and I'll be right with you. Okay, we're going to continue on. I burnt this back in again as far as the beak, that arcing line for the beak, which went a little above and a little right to the end of your beak line on both sides. So I reinforced that again, and I wanted you to make sure that that's in, and I did that with the burning pen. I came in and just laid this in here and burned this right on through. Okay, not through, but pressed it in. So that should take care of that. Now, what I want to do now is we have put this 45-degree angle here, and then the beak came back, this portion of it, and we did it on the other side. And what we should have is everything squared up. Remember, we drew a line from here down almost to the point, just slightly off, and the same way on this side. So we took all the material off this way, and we took all the material in what would be the profile view this way down, but we didn't get back into there, but we're going to take care of that now. But everything is like flat. This is rolling this way, this is rolling this way, this is straight up and down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to undercut from this V back, and we're going to do that on both sides. And what this will do is put a slope from the burn to the center line. And we're going to go from the burn to the center line, but we also have 3/8 of an inch back. And in my last video, I said something about 3/4. That was wrong. It's actually 3/8. So from the tip of the beak to this point, we have a V going out here, which goes back to this corner on the bottom of the, here's where this comes out of here and turns down. So this is 1/8 of an inch down. We're sending this line back to here, and the same way here. This came out of here and came back, and then we drew 3/8 in, we put a dot, and then we brought it down to there. So I'm going to show you how to dress this bill out now. So, or beak, I should say, not bill. So here's what we're going to do. I'm using the diamond bullet, but you could use a flame. I just like this because it gives me a barrel end on the end here, and I could sort of, I'm going to take the material out on a 45-degree angle, sort of. I'm going to go from here up to the center line. So I'm just going to slope and take the material out. But what I'm also going to do, that 45-degree that comes out and then it kicks back into this corner, which is 1/8 of an inch down, I'm going to undercut this just a little bit. And I'm going to undercut it right here so that this pencil line from here to here has been undercut a little bit. So I'm going to clean that out just like that. And I don't know how well you can see that. So now I'm going to flatten this from the burn. I'm going to take an angle to the center line and clean that out like that. And it goes all the way back up into here. And you want to flatten it, okay? So flat run. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to undercut from the center out and then down to the corner of the beak where they meet. And I cleaned that out. So if you were to run a pencil line down there, you can see that I took this material out along here. Now I gotta, here's the center line of my beak looking down from the top, and here's the burn, which is the split in the beak, and I'm going to come in and I'm sloping it from the burn to the center line, and I'm coming in on that 45-degree angle that I had in there, and I'm sloping that up like that. Okay, so now I have more or less a diamond. I'm starting to create a diamond shape. It's going to be flattened from the center down to the burn, from the center down to the burn. Now I'm going to go on the bottom side. I'm going to do the same thing, and I have this V right in here. I don't want to go into that. What I want to do is slope it from here, the center line, to the burn without touching the V. So I'm going to come in here and I'm sloping that back. And you got to be gentle because there's not that much to take out. And I take that back and I kept the V in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come in here. Let me heavy the center line again so you can see that. And I'm going to come in here, stay off the V line, slope everything to the center, and you got to be real good with that because you don't want to take out more than you need, okay? Now, you want to make sure everything's flat, from the center line, which I basically almost took out, okay? So it's flat from here to here and from here to there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on a 45-degree chamfer, but I'm not going to go all the way out to the end. I'm going to come close to the end, and I'm going to roll a 45-degree chamfer that way and a 45-degree chamfer this way. And again, I'm not taking it all the way out to the end. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't know how clear you can see that. That 45 is going from here and it's sloping up to this line right here. And there's another one down below. I'm just going to roll that now. Now watch me. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to roll that from in there out and around. Okay. Very little has to be done. And then I'm going to do the bottom one the same way. I'm going to come in here and I'm rounding that over. So it's rolling out of your splitting the beak and you're slightly rolling it around. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to go a 45-degree chamfer. And then I'm going to roll this out. And then I'm going to do the top one. And I'm going to roll that out to the center line. Now your beak is really starting to take shape. Now, because I'm looking at this beak, I know that this beak line should come up and it should be almost touching the beak line up here, but it's not, and I have a little more material than I want here. I don't want the thickness on the bottom. If you look at the beak down here, the beak has more surface area up top than it does the bottom. And right now, mine looks a little heavier. So I'm going to come in and just undercut that just a little bit. And I'm doing it very gently so I don't wipe out my beak, okay? So, and the other thing you need to do is make sure that went down. There's a step in here. This beak comes over and it lowers down, okay? It's only 1/8 of an inch from here up to here, the way the crow flies. So this is part of it, and then here's the other part. So when we came back on this one, we want to undercut right along this right here, and we're going to do the same on this side. Let me put that pencil line in again. Here's where we got that one in here, and it came down to here, Now I'm going to spin out and come back to join up with this V in here. So I'm going to undercut right along here. And then what I'm going to do is roll this even into the V now here a little bit. Now, this corner, and I'm going to show you this corner right here should be rounded. This should be rolling from here to the center line of the beak. So I'm going to use the barrel side of this diamond and take that and just round this. This is the neck area now. I'm off the beak just to get some shape in here. We have like a corner over here, which could be rolled slightly too, just to get rid of this squareness so that this throat area starts rolling. It's not perfect yet, but I'm not worried about that as much as I'm really trying to concentrate on getting the beak into play. I hope I'm staying in the camera area here in doing this and didn't take you on another trip where I didn't show you something. So now the beak is really starting to come into play. The beak is almost shaped out, and let's see what happens here. I'm just trying to see mine. I'm a little fat out here. If I look at right down the center of this beak goes wider over here. So the width of the beak that we said was 1/8 of an inch, and I'm out here somewhere where the 1/8 of an inch is more like here. So I need to push this back more. This was part of, remember we just rounded this over in here. I'm going to round that some more, but I'm also going to do this. I'm going to push this back, undercut this a little bit more, bring this material in to what would be the center. Take a little bit more back here. Now we're starting to look symmetrical both sides, okay? So for this portion of the video, we're now really getting a nice round off. We're coming out of the burn, and if it's not deep enough, what you do is you come back with the burn just to help yourself out. And I used the burning pen as my stop. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to burn that in again, and I'm going to burn it one more time here. And I don't go all the way out to the end, okay? Now that I did that, I'm just going to come in again with my bit, and I'm going to roll that out and around. I'm taking very little out when I do this. And I'm coming in here, and I'm rolling it. Then I'm going to come on this side. And what you're trying to do is get a little chamfer in there and let it round over. And then at the very top, I'm just slightly touching it to get the squareness out of there. Then I'm going to do the bottom. And I'm going to do the bottom on this side. Now these beaks are on the thin side, so like I said, don't make toothpicks out of it if you can possibly help it. And if you ever took too much out and you have to recreate the beak, there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can use super glue, the watery type, not the what's the name, the gapping type. There's a red, the red label one is real watery. And what you can do is you can get baking soda. Well, you can put the super glue on and then dip this into your baking soda, and that will get crusty and build out, and you can come back, especially with the diamond bit you want to use, because you can clean them up with what they call a wet stone. And I handle them if you ever need them, and that can clean your bit up again. So I'm looking at this, and let me get my center line in here again just to make sure everything's right. Looks pretty good. So you can see we're getting thin in here, and the top is thin. I think what I'm going to do is I got a sanding stick that I grab, and this is getting so thin at the end here. Instead of using a rotary bit, I'm just going to get and just sand this with like a little sanding file here, just to bring that in, just to get it where I want it, because I could see it bending just a little bit and not where I want it. And this should take care of it. I'm doing this very gradually. There we go. So that is the shape of the beak. Now what I'm going to do on the next video, we're going to start setting the eyes, getting the cheek in, and really bringing the head in. And we will do more work on here as we go. But you can see this is all narrowed down, and we basically have the shape of the beak the way you see it over here. And if we need to make any little adjustments as we go later, we'll do that. But initially, just to get the beak out, we're in pretty good shape there right now. So I hope you got something out of this video as well. If you did, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that too. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye now.